right, very good. And again, thank you for coming. And for the kids that are crying, if we're not crying, we're dying church. So don't worry about the kids crying. I'll try to get through my homily and paying attention. But because it's all about being focused today anyway. So, but we have lots of visitors today, I see. Over here and over here and all over through the church today. But I always like to start with our mission statement because we need to know which way we're going, right? This way, and not that way, correct? All right, so we want to go this way. So for ourselves and for our visitors and our loved ones today, what's our mission statement? Right, okay, so that's where we want to go. We want to keep doing that and get into heaven someday, and we'll all see each other there, hopefully. Are you ready for the good news of Jesus Christ? According to Father Mark? Okay, so it's what's in my heart today, and I just want to share it. I can't wait. I'm so glad you came. I've been waiting since about 7 o'clock this morning for you, so I'm glad it's finally here. I don't know if you know this about me, but I have an attention problem. I have trouble focusing. Anybody notice that? Don't raise your hands, please. The staff all knows it, but I have a really hard time focusing at times. Through my whole life, I've known it. For example, I'll give you a really good example. So I've been away at a conference all week, and I had all these receipts, right, that I needed to record in my checkbook. I know I'm old. I have a checkbook. And so I'm writing them all in the ledger, right? And out of the corner of my left eye is the computer screen, and I see a new email come up. So I stop, and I turn to the computer, right? Now I'm answering the email. And every email after that. So while I'm looking this way, out of the corner of my right eye, I see the laundry room that one of the doors is uneven. It's open. So I stopped answering the emails. I get up, I go in the laundry room, and I close the door so they're all completely closed because I don't like it when one's uneven. So I close the door. But someone in the house rearranged the shelf below it. I'm not going to point any fingers. There's only two people that it possibly could be. It's probably the more taller one than the shorter one, okay? And they're both super skinny, so I can't say skinny, right? So anyhow, someone rearranged the bottom shelf. So now I'm rearranging the bottom shelf. All the time that all my receipts are still on my desk, and I have to get back to putting those receipts in my checking account so that I can keep things correct. That's just one minor little thing about my attention deficit problem. The staff knows it, and they've all worked with me to help with me. And I've learned some techniques in my personal life, and I'll share those hopefully at the end. But I also, in my spiritual life also, how that affects my spiritual life, and hopefully I'll share with some of those with you. Our readings this weekend are all about staying focused and keeping our attention as best we can on Jesus Christ and not letting our distractions overcome us. And that first reading from 1 Kings, I love that. And come back in 3 years, I really want to preach on that. But just to say that Elijah needed to keep his focus on Jesus, on the Lord, okay? And he saw all these big things, and then they didn't happen until that whisper. He would have missed it if he wasn't focused, really, really dialed in to where God is. Our reading today our gospel picks right up where we left off last week. It just picks right up. And if you remember last week, Jesus was mourning the death of John the Baptist, and he tries to go away, but all the crowds come with him, and Jesus puts his own issues aside so that he can help all these 5,000 people, and he feeds them. And now today, he picks right up after that. He dismisses the crowds. And what does Jesus do? He goes and he prays. And he sends his disciples out on a boat. And while they're out on the boat, on the darkest part of the night, a storm comes up. And what happens, and this is one of the things I want you to notice here. The disciples are managing the boat in the right way because they're all fishermen, right? They're all rowing in the right way. They're all putting the boat into the storm. And they're not frightened at all. They're managing the boat correctly. They only become frightened when they're distracted because out of the corner of their eye, they see what they think is a ghost. And they look, and all of a sudden they stop paddling, they stop rowing, and they all become frightened because they're distracted by what the task was at hand. Now, what happens? Jesus is coming to them on the water, and what does Peter say? Lord, if it's really you, let me come out to you. Now, let me just stop again. Why didn't Peter just say, Jesus, just a few more steps? You got this, man. Or Jesus, if it's you, just wave. Just wave, Jesus. That's all you got to do, man. And then I'll know it's you, right? But no, it's about focus. It's always about Jesus teaching us. We think this story's about Peter. It's really more about Jesus. It's about keeping our focus on him. So Peter says, Lord, if it's really you, let me come out in the water. And what does Jesus say? Come. Now, what I love, and I preached on this earlier in the week, and I stopped right here. Peter walked on water. Have you? Only, I know, ice. I know, that's a great joke. But no, let's just call it what it is. Peter walked on water when he kept his focus on Jesus. He did. And I'm sure from that time to the rest, when those guys were eating together around campfires or whatever, they said, hey, do you remember the time Peter walked on water? Do you remember that? That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Peter walks on water when he stays focused on Jesus. And what happens? All of a sudden he becomes aware of the wind. And, of course, we know the wind is really strong, which created all these waves, which is making the boat go crazy. Peter begins to sink, right? But he regains his focus again, because what does he say? Lord, save me. And he stretches out his hand, and the Lord takes his hand and brings him in the boat, and all is well. We need to keep our focus on Jesus as much as we can in our own lives. That's the message that I see and that I've been reading and that I've been preparing to share with you. Whatever that means to you today, we need to just make sure we stay focused. In my own personal life, to help myself stay focused is I take notes at any meeting. It just keeps me focused, right? The other thing I do, especially if I'm preparing for a homily, I take anything on my desk that I'm not going to be able to do at that moment that could be a distraction. I put it all in a pile and I move it outside of the room. So it's not a distraction. So that the only thing that I'm looking at is what I need to get done. It just works for me. That's in my own personal life. Then there's the staff, and you can talk to the staff. I'm sure Joe's got 100 things to say back there about me, which is okay. They all know it. When I have an idea, no matter what, they let me go first because they know I'm going to lose it sometime if I don't say it now, you know. But I know in my own personal life what my distractions are. Now, in my spiritual life, it's different, and this is what I want to share with you also. I make sure that I begin my day and end my day in complete prayer. And at the beginning of my day, I ask the Lord, please, Lord, help me to stay focused on you. I also celebrate the Eucharist as much as I can, and I know I have Father Hunter, and I'm so grateful for him. But the Eucharist is always in my day, keeps me focused. The other thing I do is I say short prayers all the time. When I was on my bike ride today in Millennium Park, and I seen some of you today out there, and I was so grateful. You made my day, so thank you for being there for me. But every crack in the road, every crack in the asphalt on the way out, I said, I'm gracious, Lord. Every crack that I crossed over for 5.5 miles, I said, I'm grateful, Lord. And on the way home, every crack that I ran over, I said, come, Lord Jesus. I just try to say as many quick little prayers as I can all through my day to help me keep focused on the task at hand, which is Jesus Christ. And we need to learn those little techniques, because we all have things that are going to pull us away from what we're supposed to be doing in our spiritual life. And for me, it's constant. It's prayer in the morning, prayer in the evening. It's celebrating the Eucharist as much as I can wholeheartedly, and then saying quick little prayers all through the day. And sometimes just saying the name Jesus, 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 Jesus is the quickest prayer we can say. And it's a profound one. See what you can come up with. So here's my homework. It's 2 slides. What are the things that most often distract us from keeping our eyes on Jesus? And what can we do this week to refocus our attention on him? What are those things that pull you away? It may be your family. Okay. It may be work. It may be driving. It may be going to the store. But through all of that, we are to give thanks to God. Through all of that, we are to keep our focus on Jesus. And if you do it, we're going to be a lot happier and a lot more at peace. And then, of course, prayer. I invite you to 20 minutes of prayer. And I mean focused prayer. Not just, listening to a podcast, which are good, or praying the rosary, which is wonderful. But I mean 20 minutes of just sitting before the Lord and have a special place. My friends in Christ, let's stay focused this week on the Lord. And hopefully you didn't daydream while I was talking. All right? I didn't see anyone yawning, so that's good. But let's stay focused on the Lord, because he's staying focused on us all the time. Let's give him that attention that he desires from us each day.